Good morning, everyone, and I'm really happy to be talking today to the awesome audience here, where I will talk about how digital forensic science is evolving and what are the opportunities for India and what can be done about it and what we are already doing. So, you know, I just wanted to start with some statistics. We have seen technology change very, very fast. We see that nuclear technology, which is very, very old, two generation old, almost 75 years old. We have seen internet, which is very new. It's not, I saw internet when I was studying, not when I was born. Smartphones, they're again, only 20, 30 years old, and many of us have only started using very, very recently. So technological changes are having shorter life cycle. You know, things are changing fast, and that has an impact, and how it impacts digital forensics is something which is very, very important, which we need to understand. Fingerprints, which are the primary forensic investigative technique, which we all know, are more than 300, 400 year old. 337 years back in 1686, somebody discovered fingerprints. Similarly, DNA is more than almost 200 year old, but they are still relevant. Whereas we have internet, smartphones, digital technologies, all these where 48% or 50% of the world population is today using mobile phones. The impact and the reach is phenomenal. So nuclear power might not have reached to 50% people on earth, but phones have reached in only 2 decades. So what we see, fingerprints and DNA work well. I can still be, if I do something wrong, my fingerprints and DNA are very difficult to counterfeit or destroy. Only thing you can do is, if somebody is man in hand in glove, can change it, but otherwise if I have the right set of samples, I will always get the results. Whereas when we talk about digital forensics, there are a lot of challenges. It's only 2 decades old, but we can't investigate many of the cases today. Mobile forensics, as I understand today, is going to be very, very difficult. 90% of mobile phones you can't get in. It's not because the forensic scientists and forensic community is not working hard. It's also because companies are working hard. The manufacturers of these devices, they do not want, like Apple doesn't want Samsung to understand how they are doing and developing their technologies, and that makes it difficult. So the idea is, what's happening is that challenges because of extremely fast changing technology is a bigger problem for forensic scientists. If you start developing a solution and you take 6 months to a year to develop a solution for a particular technology, maybe within a year or so the technology is obsolete, and then you have a new technology and new problem, and you need to work again. So that there is something which is happening. This obsolescence of technology is something which is important. So the rate of obsolescence of technology is a path towards center of a spiral. It's getting smaller and smaller. The pace of obsolescence is becoming faster, sharper, smaller, and people are ignorant of cost. A few decades back, if you have to change something, cost was a factor. But today, you might have bought a 50,000 rupees phone, and after a year, much better devices available. You don't care about cost. And all this is having lot many costs which we are paying, not only in terms of mental health, environmental impact, but very big problem is criminals are adopting these things. They know technology can't be investigated by forensic scientists or law enforcement agencies. So you will find the criminal who want to do something wrong will use the latest of the technologies. So this latest technological change, fast rapid change, is causing problems for forensic community, and we need to now start thinking, how do we counter this? One way to counter this is, think about what are the technologies which are in research. For example, we are using magnetic media once upon a time. Today we are using SSD, but if you delete data from SSD, you can't recover it, because we never thought about to recover data from SSDs, and commercially this is not possible. But can't we think what will be the storage technology going forward? Because we all know what Samsung and all the storage companies, what kind of patents they are filing. So if we anticipate what kind of technology is going to be in commercial use going forward in a couple of years, we can start working on how we can develop solutions which can be used for forensic purpose ahead of time. And I think that is something which is missing. So we have seen that drones are a problem. Drones and autonomous vehicles, the cars and the EVs and all the modern vehicles, they are having a lot of sensors, a lot of information is being stored, and that's where we don't have a standard operating protocols. So if a forensic lab gets a car where they have to extract evidence, probably they don't know what to do. So these are the things which actually require some kind of simplification, some kind of checklist, some kind of easy, efficient tools which can probably help the large. In our country we have highest population in the world, right? We have highest number of crimes. We require highest number of forensic investigation to take place. We also have highest number of people to be trained, because the people who are at the ground in the law enforcement agencies, many times they don't understand technology well. We have news stories, medias like SSD, mobile forensics, which is very very difficult. Forensic imaging, I have not seen any change over a period of time. Smart IoT devices which will flood, and which will be there everywhere, smartwatch to whatever else you can think of is becoming smart today. So how do you extract evidences efficiently? How do you ensure that this can be done by a person who is at ground without compromising the admissibility of the evidences? Can we have now data protection law, we have GDPR, I'm sure that privacy is going to become more and more important. Can we do forensic investigation while preserving the privacy of an accused? Because until proven guilty, he has right to privacy. Also, the case you are investigating, you only have to have data related to that. Why will you have access to data which is not relevant for the case? And that also delays investigation. So we need to do something about developing automated, privacy preserving, efficient digital forensic solutions, because that is going to help us in terms of countering these kind of challenges. So these are the usual challenges, that storage size is increasing, cost is decreasing, which means more and more evidences along with non-relevant files. For example, a hard drive today has 1 billion files, where the evidence is only 10, 20, 30 files. How do you handle that? These convergence of technologies where everything is converging together seamlessly again require difficulty in terms of how do we solve these problems. We are seeing deepfakes, AI, ML based things, cloud, because today as a criminal I can have a dumb machine. Everything is on cloud and you don't get that data. How do you investigate those kind of scenarios? We have everything always on. We have devices like Alexas and the routers, and Google Homes and virtual assistants, and smart watches which are collecting data always. How can we leverage those things to develop admissible solutions? So this is the broad outline of how digital forensics has shaped up. I saw 2001 where digital forensics became standard, and a standard terminology was defined. Before that, people had various names to it. So this 2000 onwards, 2001 onwards, standardization started to happen. And initially we were in the golden era of digital forensics, because whatever an investigator wanted to do could do, because criminals never knew what kind of solutions we are using to investigate them. And then once digital technology started to proliferate and it reached to the ground level, digital forensics became challenging, because then people started to find out ways and means to destroy the evidence, to make it difficult for investigators. And today, in this decade of 2021 to 2030, where criminals are very smart, technology is very advanced and changing fast, it's very difficult to extract evidences. So this is a challenge, and we need to turn this challenge around. We need to develop solutions so that we can make this era also golden era of digital forensics, and that is something we need to do. And to take this forward, we need to ask some questions like what needs to be done for digital forensics. So we need to develop digital forensic ecosystem as a mission. We need to do some kind of integrated approach, because today people are doing their own things in their own world, in silos. So we need to have synergies in various stakeholders. Who will do it? It's as a country, all stakeholders have the responsibilities, and it's not that only government has to do something. Government has to make policies, government has to provide supports. For example, Ministry of Electronics has cybersecurity grand challenge where we support, and which has forensics as one of the problem statement. We also have a lot of R&D funding which we are giving to various projects and various academic institutes. We have other organizations like NSCS which is funding for various cybersecurity initiatives. So government is doing a lot. A lot is never lot, so we need to always do more. But then academia has to not only develop solutions, but they have to make deployment ready solution. They have to come up not with only the research paper, but with an outcome which can be readily deployed. We need to have partnership among startups and companies which can take this technology developed by academia to the market, so they can provide the problem statement to the researchers which can be solved. Why something should be done at this point of time? Why it is important that we do it now? It has to be done now because we are at the cusp where change of technology is becoming faster and faster. If we don't do it now, the trust of people in technology will go away. It's like UPI frauds, social OTP frauds, or social engineering frauds. People are scared of making transactions. So if it becomes really, really problematic, people will not have trust in technology, and that is something we should be scared of. We should have so we are also very nicely poised, like the IT industries of 90s and 2000 by 2K problem happened and IT industry flourished. We are in the same zone. If we take up lead right now, if we make it a mission to develop digital forensics in India, we can probably become market leaders in digital forensics also. And that is something which we should aim, and that is the reason that we should do it now. When can we expect results? If we start working today, results will be both short term, medium term, and long term. We need to find out what are our current problems, and we need to also simultaneously plan for what will happen after 2 years and 5 years. If we don't have this roadmap, then this is not going to work. So we need to clearly identify and prioritize what needs to be done, especially considering kinds of fraud we are having. So we may do some kind of analysis of all the forensic cases which are being reported and what are the challenges they are facing, and then we can come out with all short term, long term, and medium term goals. And I think that is something which will set the tone. So how will we do it? We can do it by finding the right problems to solve rather than solving anything and everything, because today I think many times we are solving problems which are already solved. We are just reinventing the wheel because that is easy to do. So ideally what we should do, we should find out those problems which are real problems, develop the right skills, give the encouragement to startups and industry along with academia. And we need to, very very important is, we need to anticipate what's going to happen tomorrow. And this is not very difficult. All the companies which come out with commercial solutions, they file patents much in advance, many years in advance. Okay, this is what we are doing, and we need to develop our solution keeping that in mind. That is the only way we can keep pace with these kind of things. So where are the resources? Resources are there everywhere today. Once upon a time when I was doing research, I needed lot many things. I have to go to a journal to fetch a research paper. I have to go to a library and physically see things. But today I can actually in real time do things using touch of a mouse on my laptop. My laptop is as good as a supercomputer of 20 years back, and government can take up it as a mission. That is something which I am sure will have a catalytic effect, and we can skyrocket and we can do things very very fast. uh, we require some kind of agile and dynamic way of doing things, so that we can adopt as the technology changes and the requirements change. Because if we just become rigid and go as we planned initially and don't change midway, I think that's a problem. We need to also think out of the box. There are many things which I wonder which have not changed, which are happening. For example, digital forensic imaging. You have a storage media for investigating a case. You have to make an image, which means bit by bit copy of everything in a hard drive to one more copy, and then you start work on that, because you can't work on original. Now what happens is, this has not changed from last 20, 30 years, but 40 years. The storage size is increasing, but the way you do imaging has not changed. We have on our laptops and our storage media multiple copies of same thing, 10 copies of same movie, 100 copies of the biodata, 500 copies of a conference schedule which I am updating every now and then. That is redundant data. Why we are just mining it again and again? Can we do some kind of intelligent imaging so that we reduce things which are not required? Can we apply intelligence for imaging process, which is the first step of digital forensics? I don't think so. Something has been done on that, and that will probably solve problems. That will solve problem of space, solve problem of time, efficiency, investigation, and so on. So what we are doing, I'm also a researcher. I work with a lot of students, and I have a great set of students who are making things happen. So we selected some of the things where we wanted to make a difference, and we found out that counterfeiting is a big problem. Counterfeiting of anything and everything. A currency note to a beauty product, let's say like my Kajal pencil, to a wine bottle, to a tea packet of Taj Mahal tea, everything can be counterfeited. So we are working on a problem statement that can we have a security feature which can stop this counterfeiting. And the answer to that question is, if you can do something so that the thing which you are seeing cannot be reproduced, then this problem can be solved. Because counterfeiters imitate things. So can you stop imitation, which is very difficult, because you have modern day scanners and printers which can do it very effectively, very efficiently, and probably using image processing better than the original. So we started working on it, and I'm happy to announce that we have filed 3 patents yesterday. We have developed next generation QR codes which are anti-counterfeit also. One of them is anti-counterfeit, and QR codes never changed. I saw first time, but QR code I saw it yesterday also. So there is no change, only the data change. And if you put more data in a QR code, it becomes dense and bigger, and that's a problem, right? So we have made something known as, this is a near far QR code. It means if you scan it, if you take out your Paytm scanners or any general scanner which you have, which can read a QR code, and if you start to scan it, it will not give you the same value. It will give you a value depending on where you are sitting. People who are sitting in front will get a different value, and you can try it. And people who are sitting at the back will get a different value. So I can have multiple values in a same QR code. This can be a interesting security product. You can think how you want to use it for security. I may not know all the applications, but people may figure out more applications. And this we are doing with a very interesting optical optical science, how camera works, how mathematics works within the standards of the QR code, which means your application can read it. You don't need any special application. The way I'm designing it is the answer, is the contribution. Then we also have color QR code. It's like if I want to have more information like your Aadhaar card, it has a QR code, but it is very, so first of all, cost of printing Aadhaar card probably would be high, I'm assuming, because they want a great quality QR code with great density, which makes it costly and difficult. So if you have a bad quality camera or not a great quality scanner, it won't scan the data which is there in a dense QR code. So how do you put more data without increasing the density? And we have worked out a solution that is like, we have those portable chairs which can go inside each other. If I have 4 chairs and I can stack them up, so which the 4 chairs but look like a one. So we have a color QR code which we have again filed a patent for. It has 4 times data. It is not dense. You can extract some bit of it. So it has public and private data also. So it has one layer of data which you can scan and like anybody. Even if you photocopy it, you can still get data. And 2 layer of data is there which you can only scan through an application which is customized. But this is also not anti-counterfeit. Somebody can replicate it. So next we have something known as non-reproducible QR code. This QR code, when printed on a piece of paper, and if you scan it and print it again by the same printer, it won't work. The patterns has been carefully designed that if you have any modern day printer and scanner which is available today, you can't reproduce it. You will probably require a 50 lakh printer and a scanner which is like not on 1200 DPI, which is probably 5 lakh DPI, which I don't think so is available commercially. Then also chances are you won't be able to do it. So this, if you just integrate, so this is also first feature in the world which is printable in a single pass. For all other features you require special printing, like in Tableau printing, special machines. For an watermark you have to do something special. This is like a normal color printer. And the same printer, if reused again, if you scan this thing and reprint using the same scanner printer combination, it won't work. Out of the 4 values which it has, 2 will vanish. Right? So what we are trying to say, see, you can develop solutions by putting constraints. We are very much used to develop solutions where we want everything in place. That I need these resources, then only I can solve problem. When I work with my students, and that's very easy, that you put all the constraints because you will not get every resource you want for. And if you can develop a solution, that will be very powerful, simple yet effective. And that is how we should do things for digital forensics also. There are a lot of problem statements, and I'm sure we will have a lot of papers and a lot of other discussions. I know sir's time is very, very precious. So I will probably stop here. I wish you happy forensic. Keep developing solution in digital forensics. And with this, I would like to thank you. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer.